Alright, in today's deck we get to look at some fun low to the ground combo. And by low to the ground, I mean we're trying to get a 7/7 15 mana spell to resolve. This is going to be Shadow of Mortality combo. We're going to be trying to get this thing onto the battlefield, sacrificing it with the sacrifice, and then using that 15 mana that we generate in order to do some pretty darn nasty things. So, a couple of things in play here. Shadow of Mortality comes into play with a discount for each life point between your starting and current life total. So that means if you've taken 13 life or you're at 7 life, then you get to cast this thing for just 2 black mana. Sacrifice says you get to sack a creature and then add black mana equal to its CMC. So for Shadow of Mortality, this thing can come in for 2 mana and then be a essentially 13 mana ritual, which is pretty dang nuts. And honestly, if you're able to do something like that, you should win the game. So we're trying to basically make this happen, and the way that we're going to do this is in a really neat way. We have Necropotence and Necrodominance legal in the format. These are cards that, at the expense of life, give you card advantage. So that's going to be really good for something like Shadow of Mortality. What we want to do is have Necropotence and Necrodominance on the battlefield, one of any of them rather. And then we want to activate our life total down to around 7 is basically the optimal point for Shadow. And once we've done that, then this thing can come in and we can sacrifice it. So we're going to use about 13 triggers on Necro and Necrodominance in order to sculpt our hand into something that can cast Shadow, sacrifice, and then go get the rest of our deck. We do play with our life total a lot in this build, so we also run March of Wretched Sorrow here for these Necropotence, Necrodominance turns, where we potentially will have a lot of cards in hand and might need to remove something, so this is a good way to do that. It's also just a good way to regain some life in case the game's going to go a little bit longer. So a pretty decent card. I really do like it in my Necrodominance and Necropotence combo decks, so it is a 4 of in this one. So once we've got the Shadow of Mortality and we've sacrificed it, we need a way to win the game. Ultimately, where we want to end up at is a Torment of Hailfire, because with the Shadow of Mortalities, we're going to be able to sack them and gain a lot of mana advantage. So if after our first Shadow of Mortality and sacrifice, we have a Torment in hand, well, that's just an 11-size Torment. They have to sack 11 permanents as early as turn 2 or 3. That is probably going to result in them being dead after taking like 21 to 30 damage. So that is one way to make it work. If after the Shadow of Mortality resolves, we have anything like Beseech the Mirror, Demonic Tutor, or Peer into the Abyss, well, those are good ways to go get Torment of Hailfire, or to just get a bunch of cards in general. Peer into the Abyss in particular is a really good one, because if we draw half of our deck, it's pretty likely we're going to find another Shadow and another Sacrifice, and that's another 13 mana ritual. After Peer into the Abyss only takes 7, so we'll be totally fine there. Also, Beseech the Mirror can find any of these things if one of them's in hand. Demonic Tutor, obviously, as well, is going to be pretty good. And basically, from that Shadow Mortality point, as long as we have one of these card draw spells in hand, we should be able to chain them together and win the game from there. Other cards in this deck include Surgical Extraction. This is just nice to have in Timeless. Sometimes we can grief Surgical something. We have Dark Ritual to enable turn 1 Necropotence, Necrodominance. Mishra's Bauble is for Beseech the Mirror on the bargain side, and there's a couple of reasons that we want to do that. Number one is we have 4 copies of Fell the Profane in our land base. This is something that can take out a lock piece, so if opponent has a Shieldred, that makes our Peer into the Abyss really bad. If opponent has a Vein Ripper, which is something that I played with in a pre-build, or like an earlier version of this build test game, that actually makes your Shadow of Mortality combo really awkward, because you need to be at 7 life, but then you also want to start Peer into the Abyssing and casting and sacrificing other shadows. So that means that on those sacrifices, you're going to be taking 2 damage as well, which with, and then if you Peer into the Abyss and you lose half your life, well, that's also pretty bad when the point that you're starting this at is 7, and you have to deal with the Vein Ripper on the battlefield. So that's why these are in the deck. They are fetchable and castable through Beseech, sacking either Mishra's Bauble or Necropotence or Necrodominance, so that's pretty nice. All these things are pretty good. So then there's also Grief in this deck. We can hit the hand a bit. And then I mentioned Demonic Tutor. 2 Leyline of Sanctities here. This used to be a 4 of in the original build of this deck, but honestly, having either two of these in the opener or drawing them down the line is pretty awkward. They're not pitchable to March of Wretched Sorrow as well, so we want to make sure that the concentration of black cards is high as well. I think we've covered pretty much everything in the deck. One thing to note is that we're running only 5 effects of Necro. Now, this is because I only have 1 copy of Necro Dominance, but also, more importantly, I don't think you really want to be running more than 6 copies of this effect in your deck. You could shave some baubles, you can get rid of the ley lines and just go full in combo if you want. But honestly, I think that once you've drawn one of these and you Dark Ritual it in, you're kind of done. You don't really want another one. So having more than like 5 or 6 feels a little bit extra to me. Now, this is something that's kind of fixed with March of Wretched Sorrow, but for me, I kind of feel like 5 is the right number currently. Possibly 6, you could convince me, but for now, this is what I have. In the land space, we also have a Takenuma. This can get back our Shadow. Hive of the Eye Tyrant, also pretty solid card. This is just another win condition if we can't resolve and keep a creature on the battlefield. And then Lock Thwains for card draw in case we need it while there's a Necropotence on the battlefield. So this is the deck. I hope you guys enjoy this one. A lot of fun games with this. We should have a good series. Let's hop into the rounds. This episode of Full Control MTG is brought to you by Patreon and your viewership. If you want to support the channel financially, the Full Control MTG Patreon is the best place to do so. With a Shockland tier, you get access to videos as soon as they are recorded and edited. Don't wait to get your hands on another Full Control MTG deck list. Otherwise, it's your support for the channel that keeps me going. Thanks for being here and enjoy the video. Alright, let's see what we can do in a round 1 here. Opening hand has some lands, has pretty much everything that we want except for that early Necropotence. Honestly, I just need to get my life total down enough that Shadow of Mortality can get turned on, and then from there, we're honestly kind of fine. So I think I'll keep this one. We can also ritual out a Shadow of Mortality after taking some damage if that becomes a necessity. Marsh Flats. This is something that looks to me like it's going to be making a lot of tokens. We actually just see a snow-covered swamp, so that is wrong. Thoughtseize is going to take something from me. Let's see what it'll be. I take it it's probably a Shadow. They do know that we can get things back with a Takenuma, though. They're worried about my acceleration here. All right. Well, let's start taking some life here. Turn on these Shadows. You know, at the very least, having a 7/7 on the battlefield is a win condition. So I'm not feeling so bad about that. Now the question is, what is my opponent doing? They're not on channel. We would have seen green. They have Nethergoyf, though. Okay. Well, here's a Mishra's Bauble. We'll use that to draw a card. Profane, we will also just probably shock this in, get to a point where we can actually use our Shadows, and then I will pass. We're looking to draw off of Mishra's Bauble probably sooner rather than later. And I'm going to reserve this Takenuma, I think, to maybe get back a Shadow if they ever take one from us. All right, so we'll take 4, go to 10. Getting pretty close to the realm of castability here. They actually rip a Necropotence from me, which is super awkward. Thankfully, they can't cast it. If we're able to rip a second one, that could also be pretty good. Let's make sure that we look at the top of theirs, see what they're drawing next turn. And then we'll take a card in our upkeep, hopefully finding what we need. They'll have a land. We just need a way to either hurt ourselves a little bit or to... we actually do need card draw. That is very important for me. All right, what do we find? It's a land. What do we find? It is more land, essentially. So I can ritual out a Shadow of Mortality right now. That seems pretty solid. That stops the Ragavans and such. And then next turn we can sacrifice. Now, we don't have a creature that we can get out with Takenuma that helps us draw, unfortunately. So we're basically looking at the top of our deck to see, can we draw any cards? It's Grief. I guess they take the sacrifice. No, they're going to take another Shadow. Okay, so we can get that back with Takenuma at the end of their next turn. That's fine. Hive of the Eye Tyrant, that awkwardly comes in untapped. We can start to force some blocks here, which is really good. I'll play the Hive of the Eye Tyrant tapped. We're going to attack in, trying to bait them to attack me, and then that means that I can bring back with Takenuma and then bring back another Shadow after sacrificing. See if they want to take 7 here. Looks like they will Nethergoyf. All right. We'll take a Grief Beat here, and we'll be exactly at 7, which is where this deck wanted to be with the Necropotence. We just kind of got there a little bit slower. All right. Take our damage here. And we are at 7. They got a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So basically, we just need to find some card draw here. If we can find it, it's going to be good. If we can't, we're going to be in trouble. If that's removal, okay, that was not removal. I was ready to sacrifice in response. They know that we can do that, though. And really not what we wanted here. We're also not quite able to Takenuma back another Shadow, which is awkward. Do I go to 4 next turn? I think I'd rather just block, to be honest. I think that will be the plan. At end step, we can discard Takenuma most likely. That is if we don't need to put the Hive of the Eye Tyrant up. I think I need to block the Grief here and take 4. Oh, actually, this Grief's going to be a problem. So they take my sacrifice here, no doubt. Yep. So now I think we're in a problem situation. Will it be just the Grief here? I hope that it's just the Grief because we can block it. All right. Good block for me. Love to see that. It means we're going to survive for one more turn. Although I think opponent's board is a little bit too wide for me. That's a very interesting block. Are they able to deal 4 damage to my Shadow? They can. This is going to be Rakdos Scam, sure. If they can Ephemerate it, they can kill my Hive, but I think at this point now we cannot win the game. I do have a sacrifice. That's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah, this Takenuma is going to be a little bit too expensive here. I say we just pass on, let opponent take round 1. They have earned it. Really, really well-timed Fury there. That was that should have been on the radar, but was not quite exactly on it. It is what it is. They decided not to kill me here. The intent was that you did get to kill me, but I guess now we get to pay through more life, go to 1. We can bring back a thingamajig, and why not cast another one? Okay, so now, knock on wood, they should be able to win the game. We've tried very hard to kill ourselves here. And honestly, we did come pretty close based on not having a Necropotence or Necrodominance in the early part of the game. So that being said, we'll lose round 1 here, but that means it's only uphill from now. All right, here we go, next round. Well, this time we actually do have Necrodominance turn 1, so this is, in fact, exactly a keep. We'll go pay 3 life. We will go Dark Ritual. And we'll go Necro. Alright, and so now we can also Grief, pitching Fel the Profane. Yet another plus of having these spell lands in the deck. So we'll get to take a look at their hand here. We see Lightning Bolt, which is scary for me. Play with Fire, kind of scary. Rally at the Hornburg. Probably a bad one because we're going to lose our Necrodominance, excuse me. But do I care after this point? Not really, to be honest. I think if we need a multiple turn Necro situation, I'm going to take the Pick Your Poison, which it seems like it's what it's going to be. We'll take 6 cards here, going to 11. Actually, I'll take 7 here. That'll leave me with 9 cards. If I draw 2 lands, then I'm happy to discard those. And we did draw 2 lands. We actually drew 3, in fact. We'll leave a Takenuma, Castle Lochthwain, also good, except we don't currently have a swamp. So I think I'll get rid of the Lochthwain for now. Our life total is already a little bit tough. March of Wretched Sorrow, not super great right now. We might need to do that next turn. However, they're all spells, so maybe I don't care about the March of the Wretched Sorrow. We'll keep the Lochthwain and get rid of that, potentially. Well, we know that they do have these 1/1s, I guess. Yeah, I think that actually I want to keep this. We might need to load up next turn. So I think I go with the original plan here, we'll keep just the Takenuma, and then one of the baubles can go, since it doesn't pitch to the March. Necrodominance is a little bit tough with March of Wretched Sorrow, but it's fine. So we get a land for turn. We get to go Mishra's Bauble for turn. And I think we're just going to have to go back up to 7 here. Unless they decide to bolt or something. So we have to represent... Actually, they are representing 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5. So they're representing 5 damage right now. Let's look at the top of their library, see if they find any more 1 mana burn spells. They will not have one. We don't know what this last card is. So at end step, I cannot go lower than 5. I'll go to 7. Actually, I should probably go to 8, but I'll go to 7. I could even go to 6, actually. 6 is good unless they have double lightning bolt. And actually, I could go lower than that if they decide to rally the Hornburg. I'm going to go to 7 here. Demonic Tutor, March of Wretched Sorrow, and Necropotence. Okay. So yeah, now I'm having to really hope that they play a creature. They'll deal 2 damage now. They'll scry that land away, which is awkward. I do need to discard to 5. Well, I suppose it's going to be this Necropotence. And we get to draw a card this turn. Grief, not super great here. Worst comes to worst, it's going to be Pitchcast, Grief, and do March of Wretched Sorrow. I just really need them to play this Hornburg card. That does more for me than it does for them. So that's the Bolt. Do they have another burn spell? They do have another burn spell. In fact, it is exactly Lightning Bolt. So even if I stayed at 8 with Necro activations, it would not have mattered. So I'd say this is a marginal improvement here. We actually did end the game with a Necro Dominance on the battlefield, but still a loss. We'll come for a win in round 3. All right, round 3. What do we got? We actually have early Necropotence, so this is what we like to see. Let's keep this one. We feel bad if we get Thought Seized, but you know what? It is what it is. Between Fell the Profane and a basic Swamp, we prefer in all situations the basic Swamp. We go Dark Ritual, we test with Mishra's Bauble, we go Necropotence. So in this case, we are going to Necro down to 7. We'll activate Mishra's Bauble. They're going to have a Bowmaster's. Good thing that we don't really care about drawing cards. Let's go down to 7, and we'll sculpt our hand here. They'll have to choose between playing a Bowmaster's and doing something else. I have the Sacrifice. So the question is, when am I going to hit a Shadow of Mortality? We have 46 cards in hand. I have seen 6. Probability says there's a good chance we don't hit at this point. I'll go to 10. And this is going to leave us with a little bit left over for next time. I also want to not go completely all in here, just in case we need to play another turn and look for a March of Wretched Sorrow. So with 10, we have about a 1 in 4 chance of finding what we need. Let's see if it'll happen. Let's end turn. We also do actually need to hit a Ritual in this current situation, which is awkward. Peer into the Abyss in hand. All right. Found Shadow of Mortality. We found a lot of stuff that we don't need. And actually, we found what we needed. So let's move our cards around here. We would like Sacrifice. We would like Shadow. We would like our other Shadow to not be exiled. We do need Peer into the Abyss. We do need Torment of Hailfire. We do need Dark Ritual. How many cards is that? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I okay with getting rid of the rest of these? Fell the Profane ×2. Grief, Wretched Sorrow, Surgical. All right, fine. I think that this is okay. We have basically a very important turn coming up where we just cannot be Grief, Thought Seized, and honestly, Orcish Bowmasters would be pretty bad too. We'll submit 7. I could... Yeah, actually, I can't even win at instant speed because Torment of the Hailfire is sorcery. You get to draw another card. Here's a Beseech. So Beseech is good. That finds me another Sacrifice. Undead Butler. Oh, okay, shields are down. They should have kept that Bowmasters. Now I think we can win. Alright, so we will activate Necro 3 times on our turn. Okay, Grief's a little awkward, but this is, I think, okay. If they take Sacrifice... Oh, actually, if they take our Dark Ritual, we can't do anything this turn. Other than drop a land. Alright, let's see what they take. Also notable, if they take our Torment, we don't have a win condition. They have some good choices here. A lot of these cards are very important to us. They're going to take the Peer into the Abyss. That is okay. Not the end of the world. So yeah, we should definitely be able to win here. Alright, go to my turn. Play a land, Dark Ritual. Activate 3 Necros. Alright. Cheapest Shadow of Mortality you've ever seen. Sacrifice the Shadow. Make 15. Now we go Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. We'll sacrifice our Necropotence. We will find our next sacrifice. Except the order of this was a little wrong and we were supposed to Shadow of Mortality. So we can sacrifice. I will not play the card because we don't have an additional cost to do. We'll go Shadow of Mortality. Sacrifice. It all works out in the end. We now have 23, 24 mana. We'll go Torment of Hailfire for 22. Absolutely huge burn there. Pretty sweet situation to be in. So round 3, we were finally able to make it happen. They're going to take about 66 damage here. Let's go. Negative 46. Well, actually a little bit less because they can discard 3 cards. But now, here comes the Gatling Gun. There we go. Negative 34. All right, we took it in round 3. That is the power of Necropotence. All right, let's go. Round 4. So we've had a good round 3. We got to follow it up with a good round 4. This is a nice hand, except we don't have a Necro effect. Maybe I should have put 8 in the deck. Who knows? So if we were to draw one of those, it's still not super great, but we can play Grief, pitching Beseech the Mirror, or our Fell the Profane, or our Surgical if we'd like. I think I'm interested in keeping this hand, actually. We can also turn to Hardcast Grief, which feels pretty good. So maybe I do that. Maybe I go Swamp, Shock, Fell the Profane, turn 2, Ritual into Grief. And then if they hit me any other way, it's fine. If they end up discarding something, I can Surgical it. All right, we pass. Then if we draw Necropotence or something, then we can switch gears and go for the combo kill. Thinking hard about that first play here. Wooded Foothills, okay. So do I want to just play Grief here? I think the answer is yes. We'll accelerate this out. We know that we'll have our 3rd land. Almost cast with Evoke. That would have been bad. We know that we have our 3rd land in case we draw a Necro effect. We get to hit the hand here. Let's see what they're playing. I'm guessing Omni Show based on these sleeves, but who knows? This could be Wooded Foothills Crack for a Brainstorm. That'd be a pretty smart move on their part. Seems like it might be. Now, they will actually just Surveil one here. So I was thinking potentially about Surgicaling in response if we wanted to gain information and they were deciding to Brainstorm. In this situation now, we might be able to Grief Surgical something important for them. Okay, so Abrupt Decay, kind of annoying. Croxa, kind of annoying. Orcish Bowmasters, kind of annoying. I wonder if we can bait them into not having a Bowmasters at some point, but that seems kind of tough. Abrupt Decay, that kills Necro Dominance or Necropotence. I'm thinking about Abrupt Decay. Fatal Push I don't care about. Tarmogoyf I don't care about. Bowmasters I do a little bit. So it's Abrupt Decay or Orcish Bowmasters. Possibly even Crocs. I don't really know. For Croxa, what are we discarding? Maybe Beseech, I think. This is somewhat of a difficult situation to deal with. Abrupt Decay deals with one of these things, and then honestly, it only needs to be on the battlefield in the case of Necropotence for a little bit. Necrodominance needs to stick on the battlefield till end step. I think I'm going to take the Bowmasters here. If they try to do anything with it, then I can surgical it. I can also just surgical the Croxa too, because they're going to play it next turn. All right, we'll end this turn. They'll need to wait till the third turn if they want to do Fatal Push. Here's a Tarmogoyf. Okay. That's problematic, but not the end of the world. All right, we can hold on to Fell the Profane for a little bit. No activation out of Beseech yet. We can attack here, and we would like to because our opponent may not know that our life total doesn't matter that much. So let's see what the next play is. They can go Croxa and then use that as Fatal Push fodder. It'll actually be a Crucius. So they might put something good in the tank for me here. We'll take our 3 happily. And here's Crucius. What will they discard? They discarded the Croxa going Ambitious. They want something more than 2. Fine. Am I surgical extractioning a Croxa? I think the answer is yes. We will pay black mana for that. I don't think I need to take damage right now. This could be a little bit long. So Croxa here. They have a Jarsel in hand. That is a little bit awkward for me. Croxa, at the very least, is not going to be the 2-drop they bring back. I don't like that Abrupt Decay is going to be useful through Jarsel. Okay, well, looks like that was just a one-of. We know that we have Amped Raptor. Amped Raptor, I think, is the only energy gainer that we have in here. Kolagon's Command, a little awkward. Aether Hub, I think, is their other source of energy. Sure. Okay, so it looks like the deck revolves around Crucius, Orcish Bowmasters, and Jarsel. And I guess the Nethergoyf. All right. So let's view the browser. Hand, library, just the one in the graveyard. There it is. And Sacrifice still online. Sacrifice number 2 is now online. I can shock this Beseech for Necro. I could also sacrifice Grief for 4 mana, then I'll have 7. Shock Fell the Profane. And then Beseech plus play that. So that actually I don't even need to sack Fell the Profane for. So then I will be at still 17 life. They'll hit me for 6, so that means I can go down to 13. I'll just take a hand of 7, I think, go down pretty low. Yeah, it's a little awkward. It is a little awkward. Is this our best chance at winning, though? I mean, Fell the Profane can be cast pretty soon. Yeah, I think I'm interested in trying this out. We will move to combat first, obviously, because we can get 3 free damage in. A little awkward if they block and then Fatal Push. Okay, cool. I'm going to get my 3 free life in. I guess I'm worried about Abrupt Decay, though. With Necropotence, that's fine. So we're going to sacrifice here. Oh, I do need to shock the Fell the Profane. That does constrict me a lot on cards, which is awkward. That actually is also awkward because this takes away my ability to do March of Wretched Sorrow. All right. So we'll Beseech without Bargain. I could also just get a Shadow of Mortality and then start taking some beats. But no, I think it has to be Necropotence. Alright, so then now this goes, we pay 3 life. I forget that the Tarmogoyf also gets bigger. So, land creature, they can put just instants into the graveyard. So this is effectively a 5/6, 3/1, that's 8. I have 6 life to work with. Alright, so I guess I take 5. Actually a little bit more than that. Okay, they don't have 1-drop in their graveyard yet, because Jarsel can bring back the Bowmasters. I do need to be cognizant of that. So once again, let me do my math. We're looking at 8 to 9 with the Tarmogoyf, but then they'd have to play the Abrupt Decay, killing my Necropotence, so that's all right. I think we can go to 9, unless they draw specifically Bowmasters. We've seen 1 in the graveyard already. I think I'm happy with taking 1 more here. This is a bit of a risky play, but we do have to look for both card draw and our Shadow. If we don't find both in these 5 cards, we're going to lose the game. All right, all in combo. Let's see what we got. Necro, Shadow, that's good. Grief, that's Mishra's Wobble. Okay. So we need them to kill with Abrupt Decay here to pump their Tarmogoyf. Yeah, I think we are looking tough here, though. We drop Shadow of Mortality. We could then Necro Grief. We have Fell the Profane. Okay, so that's fine. We knew that this was going to happen, so now they have 8 total damage. We cannot activate Necro in response. And I'm hoping that that's it. I can Fell the Profane their Tarmogoyf next turn, but I'd have to Shadow Sack next turn to do it. Alright, very easy, put me to 1. This Necro is now unusable. We do get a draw here, though. Okay, Amped Raptor, that could hit a Bowmasters, which kills me. Fiend Artisan. Oh no, Deathray Shaman. So we're dead in a lot of ways here. Alright, can we win from this hand? I don't think the answer is yes. So obviously we play a land. Fell the Profane deals with the 5/6, but the board is too wide for that to matter. If I had card draw, this potentially could have worked. We had Shadow of Mortality into Sacrifice. We do have Mishra's Bauble. That is a free play. Yeah, honestly, if we just had card draw here, this is a potential win. Maybe we do need to have more copies of Peer into the Abyss or Demonic Tutor. Well, obviously, Demonic Tutor you cannot. But maybe, pitching Griefs for something is a little bit extra. I don't know. This is probably one of those situations where the specific way that I built the deck is a little bit of a downside. Let's at least show the Shadow of Mortality angle that we had. We can get everything into play here. But regardless, they're going to have us. They're holding up on this Shadow of Mortality. It is what it is. Let's sacrifice the Shadow. And we'll be able to play everything here. Grief, Hardcast. See what they had. Lost card was. Okay, looks like they're gonna Fatal Push my Grief. That's fine. Sure. Let's be funny and in response kill our own creature. They know that the game's over from this point. We just want to know what that last card was. It was a Goyf. Take a look at the top of their deck, and then we will show them a Necropotence. Opponent will take round 4 here. We came close, but just barely missed out. They had enough of a board that it was not going to work for us. We could have gone out to our own Necropotence there, but we'll let them Deathrite us to death. All right, 5th round coming up here. Last chance to make the combo work. All right, last round. Can we make it work? Well, Dark Ritual, but it does not ritual into what we want. I think we need to mulligan. This one we have a Leyline of Sanctity for. This does insulate us against hand hate. Beseech the Mirror off of a Dark Ritual on turn 2 means that we can go for Necro turn 3. I think I do like it. I'm going to get rid of a land. We have 3 draws to make it happen. We're going to get rid of the basic. All right. Leyline versus Leyline. Hopefully you have a lot of things that target me, but I think this is just going to be the copy the pump spell deck. I think that if they build their deck in the way that I'm thinking, are pretty much immune to this Leyline of Sanctity, but we will see. At least I'm hoping that they play a play set of lightning bolts, which are going to feel really sad in this situation. So here's our Fell the Profane. Start tapped. Say go. We do need to be worried about these one-hit kills from them, though. They do have some hasters that can get big. That means that it's going to be a very tough situation to figure out how many life points I can afford to lose. All right, so here's this, here's that, and then let's beseech. We can actually beseech with bargain. That puts me a little bit ahead here. We could go down to 7 and then pray that we don't lose, but I think we actually need to go to 8 because with Leyline of Resonance, they can drop a 1/1, +3/+3, they'll be at 7, so yeah, we can't go lower than 8. And then if they have Bolt, it's a little awkward, but if they have Bolt, then they're not doing the thing that I'm thinking of. So their maximum damage they can do to me, I think, is 7. So I think I will go with bargain here. Like, even if they just double Bolt me, it's not as bad as them having the thing that I'm worried about. So let's go all in on this Necro then. We have Sacrifice. We have Beseech. We can Beseech pitching our Necropotent, so I think we're down to go exactly to 8 here. We can go all in on this kill. All signs point to go. Let's activate and see if we can get there. Fortunately, Necropotence is individual triggers, so we got to resolve each one at a time. And got to make sure I don't go past 8 here. 11, 10, 9, and 8. You know what, I could potentially also stay at 9, but I think I'm going to say that I think their max damage is 7 here. I can Surgical. That is going to do absolutely nothing to me. We will pass. End turn. All right, so we want to keep a Sacrifice. We want to Beseech as well. I can't grab it. Oh, not Necropotence. All right, we get to keep 7 here. Shadow of Mortality, Shadow of Mortality, Sacrifice, Beseech. We'll take a land. That is 5. We get 2 more. I don't think I need Grief. I don't think I need Surgical. I think that Fell the Profane might be important. Then I guess the choice is Surgical, Land, Necro, or Fell, or Mishra's Bauble. If things go bad, Mishra's Bauble could be a choice. I guess it is card draw what I want. All right. I think we keep the 7. All right. Opponent, do your worst. Let's see what you got. So yeah, next turn we go Shadow, Sacrifice, Beseech, and Peer into the Abyss, and then win the game. Mountain. Slickshot Show Off. Okay. That's just going to take me down to 7. And so I think we're okay. I'll go to my turn. So here's a land. Here's a Shadow of Mortality. Here's a Bauble. Here's a Sacrifice. Here's a Beseech the Mirror with just with no bargain. Here's Peer into the Abyss. Here's Peer into the Abyss casting on myself. I see my Torment is in hand. Here's a Shadow of Mortality. Here is a Sacrifice. I think this is enough here, but let's just go a little bit further just to make sure we have it. Do I have a third Sacrifice or do I not? I'm reading my hand. It doesn't matter though. Here's Shadow of Mortality. Here's Dark Ritual. Here's Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, sacrificing our Mishra's Bauble. Here is Sacrifice again, and I think that this will be how we end it. We will cast it, sacking the Shadow. That leaves me with 27 mana. That is Torrent of Hailfire for exactly 25. All right. Cool. I think we have it here. They have 4 cards and 2 permanents to get rid of. That means that is X19 times 3. That will be a win. So, all right, we were able to win the game here in round 5 in honestly a really nice fashion. Good choices through mono red. I think even at their worst, we had them there. Pretty darn good game. An opponent will take those last little bits of damage here. One would hope soon. But anyway, I guess I'll do my outro now while that's waiting to happen. They might end up roping me out here. Thank you guys for watching the video. It has been a fun one to record for y'all. If you want to play the deck list for yourself or make some changes to it, you can start off with my deck list, which will be in the description as a Moxfield link. Thanks for being here and watching the video. All that YouTube viewership has been very, very helpful in the past couple of weeks. Remember to like and comment on the video to help with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you're new for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. With that being said, I'll leave you guys to watch the rest of this as we finish killing the opponent, and I will see you guys in the next one.